Hello, and welcome back to another episode of English Over Tea, Listen and Speak. I'm your host, Anna, and I've got my Earl Grey tea ready. Sitting across from me, looking slightly confused today, it's Dan. And while we talk, you'll learn some really useful English words and phrases, so stay with us. And if you enjoy learning with us, please subscribe to English Over Tea. Yes, click that subscribe button and give this episode a like. It really helps us reach more learners like you.
Hi, everyone, and hey, Anna. I'm not confused. I'm just contemplating. That's a good word, right? Contemplating?
It is a very good word. It means you're thinking deeply about something. So, Dan, what are you contemplating so deeply before we even start the show?
Well, it's actually about what happened to me this morning. It sort of fits our topic today perfectly, but in a terrible way.
Oh, no. Do tell. We love a good disaster story to start the day.
Okay, so I was at the coffee shop, right? The one on the corner? And there was this guy in front of me. He looked really stressed, like dropping papers, checking his watch every 2 seconds. You know the type.
The I'm late for a meeting look.
Exactly. So being the nice guy that I am, or trying to be, I decided to value his time. I thought, I'll let him go ahead of me in line. A simple act of kindness, right?
That sounds lovely, Dan. Very polite.
Yeah, well, listen to this. I tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, go ahead, you look like you're in a rush." And he turns around, looks me up and down, and snaps, "Do I look like I can't manage my own time? I don't need your pity."
No way. He actually said that?
He did, and then he dropped his papers again because he was yelling at me. It was so awkward. Everyone was staring. I wanted to just sink into the floor.
Oh, Dan, that is a classic case of no good deed goes unpunished.
Ooh, nice phrase. Pause there. What does that mean for our listeners?
Right. No good deed goes unpunished is a funny, slightly cynical phrase. It means that sometimes when you try to do something nice or helpful, a good deed, it results in a bad situation for you, like getting yelled at by a stressed man in a coffee shop.
Yep, that was definitely my punishment. But, it got me thinking about today's topic. We're talking about valuing others.
We are, and despite your morning disaster, valuing others is usually a much more positive experience. It's a core part of learning English, too, because so much of the language is built around politeness and showing respect.
True, but what does it actually mean to value someone? It sounds a bit heavy, like do I need to put a price tag on them? Hello, you are worth $50.
No, definitely not. When we say valuing others, we mean recognizing their importance as human beings. It's about showing respect, kindness, and appreciation for who they are. It's basically treating people like they matter.
Right, like acknowledging they exist, unlike that guy this morning who definitely didn't value my attempt to help.
Exactly. It's about moral character. Knowing the rules of right and wrong behavior. But it's interesting because how do we learn how to value people? Who taught you, Dan?
That's a big question. I think it comes down to role models, people you look up to.
Look up to. That's a great phrasal verb.
It is. When you look up to someone, it doesn't mean they are taller than you. It means you admire them and respect them. You want to be like them.
Precisely. So, thinking about the past, was there a specific role model, maybe a male or female figure in your childhood who taught you about valuing others?
Yeah, there was. Actually, it's funny because it wasn't a celebrity or a superhero. It was my Uncle Bob.
Uncle Bob? Okay, I need to hear about Uncle Bob. Was he famous?
Not at all. He was a mechanic. His hands were always covered in grease. But he had this incredible way of treating everyone exactly the same. It didn't matter if the mayor of the town came into his shop or if it was a kid with a broken bicycle. He gave them the exact same respect.
That's beautiful. That is a perfect example of valuing others regardless of their status.
Yeah, I remember one time, I was maybe 10 years old. We were walking down the street and there was this street cleaner, sweeping up the leaves and trash. Most people just walked past him like he was invisible. You know how people do that?
I do. It's sad, but it happens a lot. We get busy and we stop seeing people.
Right, but Uncle Bob stopped. He shook the man's hand, grease and all, and said, "Thank you for keeping our streets clean. It makes a difference." The street cleaner looked so shocked. He just smiled this massive smile. And I remember thinking, whoa, Uncle Bob is cool.
I love that story. It's such a small gesture, but it had a huge impact. It shows that valuing others isn't about giving them money or gifts. It's about acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement, good word. It means letting someone know you see them and hear them.
Exactly. So, Uncle Bob was a male role model for you in the past. He taught you the moral rule that everyone deserves respect.
Yeah, he did. What about you, Anna? Who taught you about right and wrong when it comes to people?
Well, for me, it was definitely my grandmother. She was a force of nature. She was very strict about manners, but not just elbows off the table manners. She was strict about how you made people feel.
Oh, like emotional manners?
In a way, yes. She had this saying. She used to say, "People might forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel."
That is actually really profound.
It is, isn't it? She believes that valuing someone meant listening to them, like really listening, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Ouch, I feel attacked. Sometimes I'm just waiting to tell my next joke.
You're guilty, but we all are sometimes. My grandmother, though, if you were talking to her, you were the only person in the world. She would look you in the eye, nod, and ask questions. She made you feel valued.
That's a skill. Active listening. It's harder than it looks.
It is very hard, especially nowadays with phones and distractions.
So we have Uncle Bob, the mechanic, and Grandma, the listener.
The listener, yes, let's call her that. These are figures from our past, but I think the concept of valuing others has changed a bit over time, hasn't it? Or maybe the way we show it has changed.
That's an interesting point. I mean, in the past, rules were very rigid, right? Like men opened doors for women, children were seen and not heard.
Seen and not heard. That's an old idiom. It means children should be present but shouldn't speak unless an adult speaks to them first. Very strict.
Yeah, terrible rule, by the way. Kids have the funniest things to say. But yeah, those were the rules of right and wrong back then. If you broke them, you weren't valuing authority. But now it feels different.
It does. I think today, valuing others is less about rigid rules and more about empathy.
Empathy, putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
Exactly. But before we get too deep into the philosophy of modern empathy, I want to go back to that idea of male and female role models, because usually society tells us men should value strength and women should value kindness.
Yeah, those are the stereotypes, but Uncle Bob was strong and kind.
And my grandmother was kind but incredibly strong. So perhaps those lines are blurring?
I hope so, because if I have to be strong all the time, I'm in trouble. I cried watching a cartoon movie last week.
Was it the one with the sad robot?
It might have been. Don't judge me, Anna. I was valuing the robot's feelings.
I am definitely not judging you, Dan. Crying at a sad movie shows you have a heart. And honestly, I think that touches on a really modern idea of what a male role model can be.
You think? Because I felt a little bit silly. I was eating popcorn and sobbing. Not a great look.
No, really. Think about the past. Like we said, men were expected to be stoic.
Stoic. That's a good B2 word. Stoic. S-T-O-I-C. It means suffering pain or difficulty without complaining or showing feelings, like a statue.
Exactly. But today, I think the rules of right and wrong for men have shifted. A good role model now is someone who can show emotion and be strong. Valuing others includes valuing their feelings, and you can't do that if you are a robot, unless you are the sad robot from the movie.
Right. So vulnerability is the new strength. I like that. It makes my life easier. But what about female role models? We talked about your grandma being kind and listening. Has that changed?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, kindness is still important. We always want people to be kind. But today, I think we look up to women who break the mold.
Break the mold. I love that idiom. It means to do something differently from the way it has usually been done, to be original.
Yes, we value women who are assertive, who lead businesses, who speak up against things they think are wrong. It's not just about being polite anymore. It's about having a voice.
That's true. So, in the past, a good woman might have been seen as quiet and supportive. Now, a good woman, a role model, is someone who stands up for herself and others.
Exactly. But this brings us to a tricky part of valuing others in the modern world, because the rules are, well, they're a bit blurry now.
Blurry? How so?
Well, let's talk about technology. We have all these new ways to communicate, right? But sometimes I feel like we've lost the basic rules of how to treat the person sitting right in front of us.
Oh, I know where this is going. You're talking about phones.
I am talking about phones. I have a confession to make.
A confession? Ooh, spicy. Go on.
A few days ago, I was having lunch with my friend Sarah. We hadn't seen each other in months. We were catching up, talking about life, and my phone buzzed.
The fatal buzz.
Yes, it was just an email, nothing urgent, but I picked it up and then I checked Instagram and then I replied to a text. And when I looked up, Sarah was just staring at her tea, looking really sad.
Oh no. You were, what's the word, phubbing her?
Yes, I was phubbing her. That is a funny new word. It's a mix of phone and snubbing. Snubbing means to ignore someone on purpose. So phubbing is ignoring someone to look at your phone.
It's the worst crime of the 21st century. But seriously, we've all done it.
We have. But in that moment, I realized I was not valuing her. I was sending a message that my phone was more important than her time. It was a failure of my moral character, I guess.
That sounds a bit dramatic, Anna. Failure of moral character. But I get your point. The rule of right and wrong here is simple. Be present.
Be present. That's the phrase. It means to give your full attention to what is happening right now.
It's funny though, we talk about valuing others, but sometimes we value strangers on the internet more than our friends in the room. Why do we do that?
Dopamine, addiction, curiosity.
Probably all three. But you know, this connects back to role models. Because who are the biggest role models right now?
Influencers.
Exactly. Internet celebrities. And this is where I get a little skeptical.
Skeptical, meaning you are not sure if something is true or right. Why are you skeptical of influencers, Dan? Don't you want to buy the magic tea that makes you fly?
I would love that tea. But no, the problem is a lot of modern role models are really good at talking the talk, but not walking the walk.
Ooh, great parallel phrases there. Tell the listeners what they mean.
So, talk the talk means saying the right things, like posting a quote that says, be kind or save the planet. But walk the walk means actually doing those things in real life, taking action.
Yes, this is huge. It's about integrity.
Integrity, that's a powerful word.
It is. Integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching. It's about being honest and having strong moral principles.
Right, so Uncle Bob, my mechanic uncle, he had integrity. He didn't post on Instagram about helping the street cleaner, he just did it.
Exactly. And today, I feel like we have a lot of people who say they value others, but their actions are different. It's a double standard.
A double standard. That means a rule or principle that is unfairly applied in different ways to different people or groups. Like, I can be late, but you have to be on time.
Yes, or I can be rude to you because I'm stressed, but if you're rude to me, you're a bad person.
Ugh, I hate that. That is my biggest pet peeve.
Pet peeve. That's a fun one. A pet peeve is something that specifically annoys you very much. So Dan's pet peeve is hypocrisy.
It is. I think valuing others isn't complicated. We make it complicated with all these social rules and internet points, but really, isn't it just the golden rule?
The golden rule. I think every culture has a version of this. Treat others how you want to be treated.
Simple, elegant, effective. But,
But
well, there is a catch.
a catch, a hidden problem?
Yeah. What if someone wants to be treated differently than I do?
Oh, that is interesting.
Like, okay, I'm an extrovert. I like it when people come up to me and talk loudly and give me high fives. So if I follow the golden rule, I should go around high-fiving everyone.
Please don't do that.
Right? Because you, Anna, are a bit more introverted. If I treated you exactly how I want to be treated, you would probably hide under the table.
I definitely would. I value my personal space.
See? So maybe the golden rule is flawed. Maybe we need a platinum rule.
A platinum rule. Okay, Professor Dan, what is the platinum rule?
The platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated.
Wow, that requires a lot more work, doesn't it?
It does. It means you actually have to pay attention to who they are. You have to value their individuality, not just project your own personality onto them.
That is surprisingly deep for a man who dropped popcorn on himself this morning.
Hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
True. So, valuing others means understanding their specific needs, like knowing that some people value direct honesty while others value gentleness.
Exactly. Like if I have spinach in my teeth, Anna, would you tell me?
Immediately, I would point and say, Dan, green tooth.
See, I value that. That is true friendship. But some people would be embarrassed if you said it out loud. They would want you to, I don't know, send a secret signal.
Or write a note.
A note on a paper airplane. Dear Dan, check your teeth.
That seems inefficient, but it brings us back to the idea of moral character. Is it right to tell a white lie to protect someone's feelings, or is it right to always tell the truth?
The classic dilemma. A white lie is a harmless or small lie told to be polite, like saying, "Oh, I love your haircut," when actually it looks like a bird nest.
Hey, I like my hair today.
No, not you. I was speaking hypothetically. See, this is what I mean. It's a minefield.
A minefield. That is a great way to describe social interactions, Dan. A minefield is a situation that is full of hidden dangers or difficulties. One wrong step and boom, you've offended someone.
Exactly. And when we talk about valuing others, we often talk about these rules of right and wrong. But who makes the rules? Is it society? Is it our parents? Or is it just common sense?
Well, I think it's a mix of all three. But let's look at role models again, specifically in terms of moral character. You mentioned Uncle Bob earlier. He had a very clear set of rules. He believed in the dignity of work and the dignity of the person.
He did, but you know, Anna, I think sometimes we struggle to value others when we don't agree with them. It's easy to value someone who is nice to you or someone who thinks exactly like you do.
That is a very B2 level observation, Dan. You're talking about tolerance and mutual respect.
Right, tolerance. That's when you accept feelings, habits, or beliefs that are different from your own, even if you don't necessarily like them.
And mutual respect is when two people both have a high opinion of each other. But how do you value someone when you think they are, well, wrong? Let's say in a moral sense.
That is the million-dollar question. I find it really hard. Like, if I see someone being rude to a waiter, my first instinct isn't to value them. My first instinct is to think that person is a jerk.
Jerk, a very common, slightly informal word for a person who is mean or selfish. We've all been one at some point, I suppose.
Speak for yourself, Anna. I am a delight. No, I'm kidding. I've definitely had my jerk moments. But this is where the idea of a moral compass comes in.
A moral compass. I love that imagery. It's an inner sense which tells you what is right and what is wrong.
Exactly. If your moral compass is working, it should point you toward valuing the humanity of the person, even if you hate their behavior. It's that old saying, hate the sin, love the sinner.
That is a very traditional way of looking at it. It means you can disagree with what someone does, but you still treat them with basic human decency. But Dan, do you think people today are losing their moral compasses?
Sometimes I do, especially online. Have you seen the comment sections on YouTube or, heaven forbid, X? People say things to each other that they would never say face to face.
Oh, absolutely. It's called online disinhibition effect. It's a fancy term for how people feel free to be mean when they are hiding behind a screen. They stop valuing the person on the other side because they can't see their eyes or hear their voice.
It's like they forget there's a real person there with feelings and a family and, a life. It's the opposite of being a role model. It's like a rollover model because they just roll over everyone's feelings.
That's a terrible pun, Dan, but I'll allow it.
Thank you. But seriously, if we want to be role models for the next generation, we have to show that valuing others is a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. That means it's something that cannot be changed or discussed. It is a fixed rule.
Yeah. For me, a rule of right and wrong should be don't say anything online that you wouldn't say to someone's face while buying them a cup of tea.
I love that rule, the tea test. If you can't say it over tea, don't say it at all.
Exactly. But let's pivot a bit. We've talked about male and female role models in our own lives. What about public figures? Are there any famous people today, men or women, who you think truly embody this idea of valuing others?
That's a tough one, because we don't really know celebrities, do we? We only see their public persona.
Public persona, the personality that someone shows to the public, which might be different from who they really are.
Right, but I've always admired someone like Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, the country singer?
Yes, think about it. She's a female role model who has been around for decades. She treats everyone with incredible kindness, regardless of their background. She started a program that gives free books to millions of children because she values education. She's funny, she's humble, and she never punches down.
Punching down. That's a great phrase. It means making fun of or attacking people who have less power or status than you.
Exactly. Dolly always punches up or just makes fun of herself. To me, that shows a really strong moral character. She values her audience, her employees, and her community.
She's a legend. And on the male side, I'd have to go with someone like Keanu Reeves. Have you seen the stories about him?
Oh, the internet loves Keanu.
They do, and for good reason. There are all these stories of him taking the subway or giving up his seat or helping crew members on movie sets. He doesn't act like he's above anyone. He values the ordinary person.
He walks the walk, as you said earlier.
He really does, and I think that's why people look up to him so much. In a world of me, someone who is you stands out.
It's true. But you know, Dan, we often talk about valuing others as if it's this selfless thing, like we're being saints. But isn't there a bit of self-interest in it too?
Self-interest, doing something because it benefits you. You mean if I value you, you're more likely to value me back.
Exactly. It's a two-way street.
A two-way street, an idiom meaning a situation where both sides must contribute or participate.
If I create an environment where I value your opinions, even when we disagree, then you feel safe to do the same for me. We both grow. We both learn.
So valuing others isn't just being a nice person, it's actually a smart way to live.
It is. It builds social capital.
Well, we're getting technical now. Social capital, the networks of relationships among people who live and work in a particular society, enabling that society to function effectively.
Look at you with the dictionary definitions. But yes, when a community values each other, things just work better. There's more trust, and trust is the glue that holds us together.
I like that. Trust is the glue. Although, I hope it's not that super strong glue that gets stuck on your fingers. That stuff is a nightmare.
No, the metaphorical kind of glue, Dan. But we have to talk about the wrong side of this too. What happens when we stop valuing people? What does that look like in daily English conversation?
Well, I think it starts with small things, like interrupting.
Ugh, I hate it when people do that.
See, you just did it.
I did it for the example, I promise.
Sure, but interrupting is a way of saying what I have to say is more important than what you are saying. It's a tiny way of devaluing someone.
You're right. Or how about talking over someone?
Talking over, when you continue to speak while someone else is trying to talk, usually louder than them so they can't be heard.
It's very common in arguments, and it's a total breakdown of respect.
It's funny because we learn these rules of conversation as kids, but we forget them as soon as we get emotional.
We do. We lose our way. But that's why having those role models, those people who stay calm and respectful even when things are heated, is so important. They show us the right way to behave.
Like Uncle Bob, I bet he never talked over anyone. He probably just waited, wiped his greasy hands on his overalls, and then said something wise.
I'm starting to really like Uncle Bob. Can we invite him on the show?
I wish, but he's retired now. Probably fishing somewhere and valuing the fish's time before he catches them.
Fishing and valuing the fish. That sounds like a very peaceful retirement. But Dan, we've been talking about these great role models, but there's a darker side to valuing others that we should probably address.
A darker side? Is this where we talk about villains? Because I've got some thoughts on movie villains who actually have great manners.
Not quite villains, but more like people-pleasing.
Oh, people-pleasing. That's when you care too much about what others think, right? You value others so much that you forget to value yourself.
Exactly. And in English, we have a specific phrase for this, being a doormat.
Ouch, a doormat. That's the thing people wipe their dirty shoes on before they enter a house. So if you are a doormat, you let people treat you badly or walk all over you.
Precisely. And this is where the rules of right and wrong get a bit complicated because we're taught that being kind and valuing others is right. But if you do it to the point where you lose your own boundaries, is that still right?
Boundaries. I hear that word a lot lately. It's like an invisible fence you put around your time, your emotions, and your energy to keep yourself safe.
Yes, and I think a true role model, a modern one at least, is someone who knows how to value others while maintaining their own boundaries. It's about assertiveness.
Assertiveness. That's the middle ground, isn't it? It's not being aggressive where you're a jerk, and it's not being passive where you're a doormat. It's standing up for yourself in a way that is still respectful to the other person.
Spot on. Let's look at an example. Imagine a coworker asks you to finish their report on a Friday afternoon at 5 p.m.
Ugh, I'd be so annoyed. My jerk side would want to say, do it yourself. I'm going to the pub.
Right. And the doormat side would say, oh, okay, I'll stay until midnight and do it for you.
So what does the assertive person say, the one who values themselves and the other person?
They might say, I understand you're under a lot of pressure and I value our teamwork, but I have plans this evening and won't be able to help. Let's look at it first thing Monday morning.
That sounds so professional. It almost sounds too easy, but in real life, my heart would be beating so fast. I'd feel so guilty.
That's the thing. We often feel guilt, that feeling of having done something wrong, when we're actually just setting a healthy boundary. We think we aren't valuing the other person if we say no.
Wow, so valuing someone doesn't mean saying yes to everything they want.
Exactly. In fact, sometimes the best way to value someone is to be honest with them. If you say yes, but you're secretly angry and resentful, you aren't really valuing that relationship, are you?
Resentful, that's a strong word. It means feeling angry or bitter because you think you've been treated unfairly.
Right. And resentment is like a poison for friendships. It's much better to have a slightly awkward conversation now than to be resentful for 6 months.
This makes me think about our role models again. My Uncle Bob, he was kind, but he was not a doormat. If someone tried to underpay him or treated him like he wasn't a professional, he'd just fold his arms and say the price is the price and my work is worth it.
See, he valued his own skill and time. That's a huge part of moral character, having self-respect. You can't truly value others if you don't value yourself. It's like they say on airplanes, put on your own oxygen mask before helping others.
That's always sounded a bit selfish as a kid, but it makes total sense now. If you're passing out, you're not going to be much help to anyone else.
Exactly. But let's shift gears. We've talked about work and family, but what about valuing people we don't know, like random acts of kindness?
Oh, I love those, except for my coffee shop disaster this morning.
Well, besides that, do you think society's rules for how we treat strangers have changed?
I think they've become more anonymous. In a big city, we tend to put our headphones on and look at the ground. It's like we've agreed on a rule that valuing a stranger means leaving them alone.
That's a very interesting point. Is giving someone space a form of valuing them?
I think so. In some cultures, like in the UK or parts of Scandinavia, privacy is a huge way of showing respect. You don't bother people. But in other cultures, like in Italia or Brazil, valuing a stranger might mean striking up a conversation and sharing a laugh.
It's a cultural nuance.
Nuance, a very small difference in meaning, feeling, or sound.
So, if you're an English learner, this is the tricky part. You have to figure out the rules of the place you're in. If you're in London, you might value someone by not talking to them on the tube. If you're in a small town in Texas, you might value them by saying howdy to everyone you pass.
Howdy, partner.
Please never do that again.
Okay. But it's true. Language isn't just about words. It's about reading the room. Reading the room, understanding the emotions and thoughts of the people in a particular place.
And that brings us back to empathy. To value someone, you have to try and understand their context. Are they in a rush? Are they tired? Are they from a culture that values silence?
It sounds like a lot of work, Anna. No wonder I'm so tired by the end of the day. I'm just trying to value everyone correctly.
It is work, but it's the most important work we do as humans. It's what separates a role model from just another person in the crowd.
True. And I think it starts with curiosity. Instead of judging someone like I judged the guy in the coffee shop, maybe I should have been curious. Maybe he just got some terrible news. Maybe he's just naturally a bit of a grump.
Grump. Someone who is easily annoyed or in a bad mood.
Exactly. If I value him as a person who might be having a tough time, I don't take his yelling personally. I just think, wow, he's having a tough time, and I move on.
That is a very high level of moral character, Dan. I'm impressed. You're becoming a role model right before my eyes.
Well, I do my best. Just call me Uncle Dan.
Let's not go that far yet. Uncle Dan has a certain ring to it, but maybe we should stick to the script for now. We've covered a lot today, from coffee shop disasters and Uncle Bob's grease-stained wisdom to the platinum rule and the importance of boundaries.
We really have. It's funny, when we started, I thought valuing others was just about being polite, saying please and thank you. But it's so much more than that. It's a whole way of looking at the world.
It truly is. It's about having a consistent moral character. Consistent, That means acting the same way over time, not just when you feel like it or when someone is watching.
Right. Whether it's how we treat a street cleaner, how we interact with strangers online, or how we set boundaries with our friends, it all comes back to that core idea of human dignity.
Exactly. So for our listeners today, let's do a quick recap of some of the language of value we've used.
Great idea. My brain is a bit full, so a recap helps. We talked about looking up to people, our role models. We discussed integrity, which is doing the right thing even when it's hard.
We also learned about phubbing, don't do that to your friends, and the difference between talking the talk and walking the walk.
And don't forget the golden rule versus the platinum rule. Treat people how they want to be treated. That one really stuck with me.
And finally, we talked about assertiveness. Valuing others doesn't mean being a doormat. You have to value yourself first to have the energy to value anyone else.
Well said, Anna. You know, I feel like I've learned as much about life today as I have about English.
That's the goal of English Over Team. We want you to improve your fluency while also thinking about the things that really matter. Speaking of things that matter, we want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yes, we want to know, who is a role model in your life? Is it someone famous or someone like my Uncle Bob? Someone who taught you the rules of right and wrong.
Leave a comment on our YouTube channel and tell us your story. We read every single one, and we might even share some of your stories in a future episode.
And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps us grow the channel and keep the tea brewing.
Also, if you're looking to practice your listening, try playing this episode again while you're washing the dishes or going for a walk. Repetition is the key to mastering those B1 and B2 phrases.
Definitely. Well, my tea is officially cold, which I think is the international signal that the podcast is over.
Fair enough. Thank you all for spending your time with us today. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to show someone they matter.
Even the grumpy guys in coffee shops. I'll try to be nicer to the next one, I promise.
We'll hold you to that, Dan. Until next time,
Keep listening
keep speaking.
and enjoy your tea.
Bye, everyone.
See ya!